The spaceport smelled like fuel, old metal. Everyone had a job or a mission. No one noticed the small shapes hiding between the trash bins near Dock 9, but the boy was there. Thin arms, cracked lips, dark eyes too serious for his age. He wore torn cloth around his waist and nothing on his feet. His skin had a faint violet tone, clearly alien, maybe from the Ulari system. His hands were dirty, but his voice was strong. "Give my mama credit," he shouted. "Clean. Your toilet?" People passed by. Some glanced, most ignored. A few laughed. One human pilot threw a half-eaten ration bar at him. "Clean your own planet first, freak." The boy didn't flinch. Picked up the bar, sniffed it, and quietly placed it in his pocket. He had done this before. Behind him, sitting in the shadows, was his mother. She didn't speak. She didn't beg. Her eyes were down, hands folded in her lap. Was older than she looked, her face tired, bones sharp beneath her skin. She wore a torn jumpsuit, the kind used by engineers long ago. But her back was straight, like someone who once had pride. A few steps away, a man in a gray janitor's uniform was watching. Cole had worked here for 10 years. He cleaned trash units, scrubbed waste rooms, and repaired broken vacuum toilets. He didn't talk much. Most humans didn't even know his name, but he saw things, and he heard the boy's voice. "Please, just one credit. She can scrub walls, shine metal, clean the floor with her hands." One of the dock workers snorted. She died before she'd finished one stall. Another added, "Don't let her near Sector 4. Place already stinks." The boy's shoulders tensed, his small fists clenched, but he didn't yell back. That's when Cole walked over. Slow steps, quiet. He stopped in front of the boy and looked. "Down. What's your name?" The boy blinked, unsure. "Totoma." Cole nodded once. "Your mother speaks standard." Toma looked back. "Only a little. She listens more." Cole turned his eyes to the woman. She didn't move. She'd already accepted the silence of strangers. Then Cole pointed behind him. "Sector 2, Unit 3. Toilets clogged. Needs cleaning? You two up for it?" Toma's eyes went wide. Yes, we'll do it." Cole stepped aside and let the boy lead his mother. They didn't smile. They didn't thank him. But they moved fast, like people afraid the chance might vanish. Inside the unit, the smell was sharp. The kind that makes workers gag. Cole leaned against the wall, his arms crossed, watching. The alien woman didn't complain. She kneeled beside the cracked pipe, touched the leak, then moved like she had cleaned 100 worse places. She worked with rhythm, scrubbing, fixing, tightening bolts with her bare fingers. Her hands were thin, calloused but graceful. Not just a cleaner worker who once knew machines well, in 15 minutes. The stall was spotless. The metal gleamed. Even the cracked panel had been adjusted with a small pin she carried in her cloth belt. Cole raised an eyebrow. "You used to be an engineer?" She didn't answer, just bowed her head lightly, eyes low. Toma stepped forward. "She fixed ships once. Big ones. Before everything." Cole nodded again. He pulled 10 credits from his side pouch. Toma's eyes widened. He said 1. Cole looked at him and said, "She gave 10 times more than I asked." He dropped the credits into Toma's hand. But before they could leave, the door opened with a hiss. A tall officer stepped in, one of the admin enforcers. He looked at the aliens. Then at Cole, "You hired undocumented aliens to clean restricted areas?" Cole said nothing. Station law forbids credit exchange without registry. Still, Cole didn't answer. The officer stared at the boy, then at the mother. "You and your kind will leave by nightfall. You're lucky we don't detain you." Toma's lip trembled. The mother stayed silent. Cole looked straight at the officer. They didn't break anything. The officer narrowed his eyes. "You just might have." Left without another word. Later that night, near the outer gates, Cole walked slowly. He found them curled up under a rusted vent. The woman was sleeping with her arms around Toma. The boy looked up. "Are we being punished?" He asked. Cole sat beside them, handed over a blanket and a half-warm food pack. "No," he said quietly. "You did a good job." The wrong people noticed. Toma pulled something from his neck, a small pendant, shaped like a star. "My father gave this to protect us. He said to give it to someone good." He placed it in Cole's hand. The human stared at the tiny object. It looked like junk, but it pulsed softly, like it remembered something. Asterisk. The next morning came with no welcome. Cold wind blew through the edge of the landing platform. Dock workers wrapped their jackets tighter. Most ignored the huddled shapes near the trash unit outside Gate 7, but Cole didn't. He came early, before the traffic rush, holding a metal lunchbox in one hand and the strange pendant in the other. He found Toma and his mother just waking up still, curled under the rusted vent. The boy blinked up at him, then rubbed his eyes. "Why are you back?" Toma asked softly. Cole knelt and opened the box. Inside, 2 protein wraps, a pouch of water, and a few small tools. "I brought breakfast," he said, and something else. He held up the pendant. "So where did your father get it?" Toma looked down. Said it came from the ship he built before they were chased. Cole looked at the mother. She hadn't spoken since yesterday. But now, as sunlight touched her face, her eyes met his. They weren't broken. They were waiting. That afternoon, Cole brought them into Sector 4. Not to hide, to clean. It was the worst part of the station. Overflowing toilets, jammed pipes. Along the corners, no one wanted the job, but the mother walked in like it was a temple, with a rag and old water. She started from the back, scrubbing, wiping, twisting pipes by hand. Her fingers were strong, her motion precise. She didn't just clean. She restored. Cole watched, impressed. "Where'd you learn to fix sealant rings with no tools?" he asked. She finally spoke just one word. "Ships." Her voice was soft but sure. Her accent carried years of silence. Cole looked at her hands. Long fingers, narrow palms, slight shimmer on the skin. Not scars, not dirt, but engineers. Hands. Hands that had once tuned plasma coils and repaired hull leaks under pressure. Toma stood proudly nearby, handing her rags and pointing out dirt patches. She was chief tech on Yulari vessel, he whispered. Before they took her badge, Cole nodded slowly. "They took everything, huh?" The boy didn't answer. He didn't need to. As she finished cleaning the last stall, Cole gave her space. He quietly pulled out his data slate and opened the tasks. Station registry, no name, no match, nothing. This woman, this mother, didn't exist in their records, but her work spoke louder than any. ID. She had turned the worst restroom in the station into the cleanest. 1 in 2 hours, it didn't smell like waste anymore. It smelled like dignity. Cole handed her 20 credits. She hesitated, shook her head. He pushed it into her hand. "You earned it." Then he gave Toma a small silver wrench. "You're the helper. Pay always goes to the crew, too." Twama grinned. For the first time since Cole met him, he smiled. But the moment didn't last. A sharp whistle echoed down the hall. 2 station guards in black and gray uniforms stepped. "In unauthorized aliens again?" one of them muttered, pulling up a wrist scanner. Cole stood in front of them. "They're not hiding. I hired them. You don't have the authority," the taller guard snapped. "Only licensed workers are permitted. These 2 are undocumented." The scanner beeped red on both mother and child. "We'll have to report this to admin. You're risking fines, possibly termination." Cole's jaw tightened. "For what? Giving them a mop? You're aiding an illegal service exchange?" the guard said coldly. "That's punishable by suspension." The mother said nothing. Toma stepped forward. He looked up at the guards, voice trembling. "My mom's not bad. She cleans better than anyone. She cleaned the whole room." The smaller guard paused, then smirked. "Yeah, maybe she can clean the toilets on prison deck." Guards left, but the warning was clear. Cole exhaled slowly. "They're watching now," he said. Toma looked down. His smile faded, but the mother stepped forward. She touched Cole's arm. She didn't speak. She just nodded once, not in fear, in thanks. That night, Cole returned to his storage unit. He placed the pendant Toma had given him into an old scanner. The scan blinked twice. Then a file opened. It wasn't a name. It was a symbol. Ulari, Engineering Corps. And beneath it, Royal Tech Clearance. Level 1. Cole stared at the screen. He leaned back slowly. She's not just an alien. He looked at the pendant again, then back at the image. She's a missing engineer from a royal crew. He exhaled. They're not just looking for work. Looked out the window. Someone out there is probably looking to kill them. The next morning, everything looked normal. The station moved like always busy workers. Blinking lights, cargo drones buzzing down rails. No one would notice the pressure building beneath the calm, but Cole did. He felt it the moment he stepped. Into the main corridor, eyes on him. Not angry, not loud, just watching. He made his way to Maintenance HQ, where the air always smelled like oil and overheated metal. His shift didn't start for another hour, but he had things to do. He pulled the pendant from his pocket again, still cold and glowing faintly. He had barely started the scan when a voice snapped from behind. "You in early for a reason, Cole?" He turned. It was Rosk's security admin, sharp voice, clean suit, eyes that always looked past people. Cole stayed calm, just checking tech logs. Rosk didn't blink. We're helping undocumented aliens again. Cole stiffened. Rosk stepped closer, waving a small holotab. "Funny thing. Your ID pinged 3 restricted access zones last cycle. And oddly enough, a cleaning report was filed under your name." Cole looked him straight in the eyes. "That's my job," Rosk said coolly. "Your job is not to offer credits to illegal scavengers. Your job is not to employ non-registered beings in secure areas." Cole didn't move. Rosk leaned in. "You've been fined 1 week's pay. Final warning, next time it's a security. Report." He tossed a printout on the workbench and walked off. Cole stared at the paper. Doc, Violation Code 17C. Unauthorized compensation to unregistered species. A fine for being kind. Later that day, Cole sat alone in the lower food court. He hadn't touched his lunch. The lights above flickered gently. He watched travelers pass, some laughing, some tired. All in a hurry, no one saw what he saw. He looked at the pendant again. Royal Lurie Engineering Corps. Level 1. The woman sleeping under vents last night had once commanded crews, designed warships, walked palace halls. Now she scrubbed toilets. And her son begged for credits. Cole. He looked up. Toma stood nearby holding a piece of metal wrapped in cloth. His hands were smudged, but his eyes were bright. "I fixed it," the boy said proudly. Cole raised an eyebrow. "Fixed what?" Toma placed the item on the table. It was Cole's old wrench, snapped weeks ago, now welded back together. Handles smooth, the grip reinforced. "I used parts from a drone leg," Toma said. "I watched you use it yesterday and I thought, it looked tired." Cole blinked, then smiled, just a little. "You're a dangerous kid," he said quietly. Toma grinned. "My mom says I have smart hands." They sat together a moment. Then Toma asked something strange. "Why did you give us so many credits?" Cole didn't answer right away. He looked down at the boy. "Because I've seen too many people walk past those who need help the most," he said finally. "Because your mother works harder than half the crew here, because no one else said yes." Toma looked at him quietly. "My father was like that," he whispered. "He said if no one opens the door, be the door." Cole stared at him, surprised, but then something behind the boy caught his attention. A figure tall, in a black and silver coat, watching them from across the court. Not station security, not a janitor. To clean. To still, Cole's instincts flared. That night, he visited the mother and son again. This time, they had moved into the back of a disused shuttle, abandoned near Dock 11. No heat. No power, just shelter. Toma ran to greet him, but the mother stepped forward, his hands raised. "Too dangerous," she said softly. "You've done enough." Cole shook his head. "They're watching you now," someone outside admin. "Dependent again. This thing isn't junk. It's a tracking tag." The mother's face changed. Not fear recognition. She spoke quickly in her language. Toma translated. She says, "That pendant wasn't forgiving. It was a last signal. If turned on, it sends a location ping." Cole swallowed hard. "So someone's coming." The woman nodded. Cole looked at both of them. He made a decision. "I'm getting you out of here." The mother touched his arm, confused. "Why?" she asked. He took a breath. "Because your boy fixed my wrench. Because you cleaned a bathroom. Like it was holy ground." Because he hesitated. Because someone should have helped you before it got this bad. Outside the shuttle, in the shadows, the man in the black hand silver coat spoke softly into a cum. Signal confirmed. "The Ulari widow is alive, and she's with a human." Smiled coldly. "I'll bring them both in dead or breathing." Asterisk. The night was silent in Dock 11. Most people were asleep. Only the low hum of ship systems and the occasional beep from auto drones filled the air. But in the shadow of a broken shuttle, 3 hearts beat faster than machines. Cole stood inside. The cold metal shell, facing the woman and her son. "I need to know who you really are," he said quietly. The mother said nothing. But her eyes, darker than space, held something ancient. Heavy Toma looked between them, unsure. "She's scared," the boy said. Cole nodded. "So am I then." Slowly the woman stepped forward. She reached into the cloth tied around her waist and pulled out something small. Not the pendant this time. A chip, about the size of a fingernail. It shimmered slightly in the dark. Cole leaned forward as she placed it in his hand. Toma translated her whisper. "She says this is all that's left of who she was." Cole turned it over, studying the symbol etched into its center. It wasn't just Ulari. It was Royal Dash Grade, the kind of clearance only given to war engineers and ship designers, people who could build fleets or destroy them. "She worked in Ulari High Command?" Cole said slowly. Toma nodded. "She was second chief on the battleship Viray Dawn." Cole looked at the mother, eyes wide. "That ship vanished in the war," he said. "Everyone thought it was destroyed." "She escaped," Toma whispered. "But they hunted her because she knew too much." Cole took a breath. "And your father?" "He died helping her escape." Cole sat down heavily on a broken crate. His mind was racing. Now he understood why the pendant glowed when scanned. Why she knew every pipe system on the station. Why she moved with the silence of a soldier, but cleaned with the care of someone who had once held rank. She had been royalty in uniform. Now she was treated like trash, all for surviving. Suddenly, soft knock echoed on the outside hull. 3 taps, then silence. Cole raised a finger to his lips. He moved to the small window and peeked out. Someone stood just beyond the shuttle lights. Same black and silver coat. Same stillness as before. The figure wasn't pacing. Wasn't nervous. He was waiting. Cole knew that stance. Not a bounty hunter. Tracker. And that meant others were coming too. He turned quickly. "We need to move now."
Ow.
Toma helped his mother gather what little they had. A few tools, a water pouch, a piece of dried bread. Nothing more. They followed Cole through the service tunnel behind the dock. The metal floor echoed under their feet. Every corner felt like danger. "What's the plan?" Toma asked. "We hide first," Cole said. "Then we find someone who can get you off station." "Who?" the boy asked. Cole didn't answer, because he didn't know yet. They reached a small door, labeled Maintenance Tunnel, Level B. Cole keyed and his old Codite still worked. The room was tight, dusty, filled with old supplies and broken floor tiles. Not perfect, but safe. For Dow. The mother sat quietly on the floor. She looked around, then closed her eyes. Toma leaned against. "Cole, tired but alert." "She's worried you'll be punished," he said. Cole smirked slightly. "Too late." He looked at the boy. "You knew about her past, didn't you?" Toma nodded. "I didn't understand it all, but I knew she was important. Not because she wore a crown, Because she cleaned toilets like they mattered. The boy smiled. Yes. Suddenly, the cum unit on Cole's wrist blinked red. Unauthorized. Access attempt maintenance hub 9. He cursed under his breath. They're already in. The boy tensed. What do we do? Cole looked at the mother. She was calm. Watching. Like she had. It's already survived worse. He stood up and grabbed a pipe wrench from the shelf. We fight smart, he said. We stay quiet. And we don't go down easy. Outside, the tracker whispered. Into his cum again. They're hiding. I can smell the coolant. Old tunnels. A second voice replied, colder than steel. Bring them out. Alive if possible. Dead if noisy. The tracker smiled. No one escapes twice. Back inside the tunnel room, Toma leaned into his mother's arms. Cole sat by the door, wrench in hand, no words, just silence, breathing. And the soft glow of the pendant resting near the woman's heart. She had once controlled battleships. Now, she waited in a broom closet, but something in her posture calm. Unmoved reminded Cole, she had not given up. She was just choosing when to rise. The tracker moved like a shadow. He didn't wear armor, didn't need to. His eyes were sharp, his senses trained. His boots made no sound against the floor as he stepped through the outer corridors of maintenance deck. He wasn't hunting for food or for glory. He was hunting for a secreta woman who was supposed to be dead. And the child who carried the last piece of her inside the dark supply room? Cole checked the vent twice. It was the only way out other than the front. The rest of the tunnels had already been sealed off from the inside. Toma sat in the corner, holding the pendant close. His mother sat beside him, quietly sharpening a rusted utility knife on a piece of broken pipe. Who do you think sent him? Cole asked, voice low. Toma glanced up. Not from here. Ulari rebels, maybe. Or old commanders who don't want her secrets getting out. Cole nodded. He had no doubt now this wasn't just a bounty. This was a cleanup someone had paid to erase. What was left of her? The sound of footsteps echoed outside. Then silence, then dot. A voice, smooth, steady, and cold. I don't want the child. Just the mother. Cole stood near the door, gripping his wrench. The voice continued. Give her to me, human. You'll walk free. The boy, too. Cole didn't move. Toma whispered. He won't stop. The mother stood now. She placed one hand on Cole's shoulder light. Calm and shook her head. Then she walked slowly toward the door. Wait, what are you doing? Cole asked. She didn't speak. She just looked at him. With the eyes of someone who had survived far worse, then she touched the door. Panaland opened it. The tracker stepped back in surprise. He hadn't expected her to come out willingly. She walked. Forward, hands raised, calm as ever. Cole and Toma watched from behind, frozen. The tracker smiled. That's better. She said nothing. Then her hand moved fast. She reached to her waist, pulled out a small capsule and threw it to the ground. Boom, blinding flash. Smoke filled the hallway. Cole grabbed Toma and pulled him back. Run. Da. Tracker cursed, stumbling back as the smoke burned his eyes. The mother turned and bolted into the service. Cole didn't wait. He followed with the boy close behind. They ran through tight corridors, ducking under broken pipes and jumping. Over crates. Where are we going? Toma shouted. Old hangar shaft. Cole yelled back. It used to be sealed, but I kept a key. Behind them, footsteps grew louder. The tracker had recovered and now he was running fast. They reached a thick metal hatch. Cole punched in his code. Nothing. Come on, he muttered. The lock blinked red. Toma stepped forward, pulling out a tiny chip from the pendant. He slid it into the panel. Click, green light. The door slid open. You rewired your father's pendant to open station locks? Cole asked, stunned. Toma just shrugged. Mom taught me. They ran inside and sealed the hatch. Inside was an abandoned loading dock. Dust covered everything. Empty crates, old tools, broken loaders. But it was big, and it had air access. We can hide here, Cole said. Or we can try to draw him in. The mother looked at the crane above, then at the forklift. Still parked beside the crates, she pointed to the switchboard. Cole caught on fast. You want to trap him? She nodded. Minutes later, lights went out in the hall. The hatch creaked, then opened. Smoke and dust swirled as the tracker stepped inside. Rifle raised. Silence. He walked slowly, scanning every shadow. Suddenly, dash bang. A crate dropped behind. Him, he spun, firing nothing. Then another bank loser. This time, he moved fast. But not fast enough. The crane arm above swung hard. Crash. It struck his back and sent him flying into the wall. Before he could rise, Cole jumped down with the wrench and slammed it against the rifle. Sparks flew. The mother leaped into utility, knife in hand pressing it against the tracker's neck. He froze. She leaned down and whispered something in her alien tongue. Toma stood at a distance, watching as his mother reclaimed a piece of who she had been. Not a cleaner, not a beggar, a fighter. They tied the tracker up and sealed the hangar. Cole looked at the mother, breathing hard. You trained in combat too? She nodded. Double quotes, engineer and security detail, Toma said proudly. She built the ship and protected it too. Cole sat down, wiping sweat from his brow. I'm starting to think I'm the least useful person in this group. The mother actually smiled. Just a little. But before they could rest, Cole's wrist lit up. Incoming alert. Security drones dispatched to Hangar B. Cole looked up sharply. They're not coming alone next time. Asterisk sirens began to echo across the hangar. Not loud, not rushed, just cold, like the station had already decided who was guilty before the evidence even spoke. Cole stood near the broken forklift, staring at his wrist. Security drones deployed. ETA 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Then this place would no longer be a hiding spot. It would be a battlefield. Behind him, the alien woman sat quietly beside her son. She was wrapping a cloth around the shallow cut on her hand, silent, calm. Still focused, Toma looked at Cole. We have to run again, don't we? Cole didn't answer right away. He stared at the tracker they'd tied up, still unconscious and breathing heavily on the floor. Then he looked back at Toma. No, Cole said finally. Not this time, the boy frowned. Why not? Cole sat beside them and opened his repair pouch. I've spent years walking past things, people, too, telling myself it wasn't my job. He looked up, eyes hard now. But this is my job. They didn't fully understand him yet, but the mother nodded. She knew it was the same look her husband wore, for he gave up his own escape pod to save her and their son. Cole got to work. He pulled wires from the crane, rerouted power into the old control board, then overcharged the emergency lights to trigger a blind flash circuit. He slid a small pressure fuse under the door panel, a trick he'd used once to keep a drunk crewman locked inside a storage room. Now it would be a delay. He taped a broken oxygen pipe and ran it behind a crate. Where the spark from a drone's foot would light it like fire, Toma watched everything. You're not just a janitor, the boy said. Cole smiled tightly. No, I'm just a janitor who paid attention. 5 minutes left. The mother walked over and placed something in Cole's hand. It was her chip. It's the identity marker with the Royal Ulari symbol. You might need this, as Toma translated. Cole looked at her, confused. She gently tapped his unit. Ignore it, and they'll say you helped fugitives. Use this and maybe someone listens. Cole stared at the chip, then at her. You trust me with this? She nodded. 3 minutes. The hum of drones began in the distance, cold, mechanical, emotionless. Cole gave Toma his old scanner. Stay behind the crate. If anything goes wrong, run. You and your mom. Don't stop. Toma gripped the scanner tightly. What about you? Cole's voice dropped. I'll buy you time. 2 minutes, lights flickered as drone signals interfered with station power. The tracker groaned and opened one eye. Cole raised a boot and pressed it on the man's chest. Make a sound and I'll show you how a wrench can end a career. Cole muttered. The tracker shut up. Then the door lock blinked. Admin override. In progress. Cole crouched beside the crate. The mother took her son's hand and pulled him close. hiss filled the room. The metal door opened, and 3 security drones walked in tall, faceless, metal-armored. Their visors glowed blue. Their weapons didn't shake. Behind them, Rosk stepped. In, smug and confident, he saw Cole first. "Stand down," Rosk said. "You've already lost your job. Don't lose your freedom, too." Cole didn't move. "You're chasing the wrong people." Rosk motioned to the drones. "They're illegal. She's flagged. Her son's not even in records." "Survivors," Cole growled. "They're criminals," Rosk said calmly. "And so are you now." Then Cole threw the small pressure. Fuse! It sparked, then burst with smoke. Drones staggered back. Lights flared. The crane swung hard and smashed into the lead drone. Metal crashed to the floor. Cole rushed forward, slamming his wrench into the second drone's optic. It sparked and spun, but the third drone raised its stun beam. Man fired. ZZT. Cole collapsed, shaking, his body seizing. Toma screamed. His mother ran out, knife raised, ready to fight, but the drone turned its beam on her and froze. A new signal pinged. Unknown authority code. Ulari Royal. Tech clearance. Level 1. All. 3 drones paused. Rask stepped forward, alarmed. Where did that come from? Cole, still twitching on the floor, raised his arm. The chip was in his palm, slotted into his cum unit. The station system beeped again. Verified. Override required. And then an incoming transmission. From orbit, a face appeared on Rosk's. "Come, a human. Military jacket. Stern face. This is Commander Allen of Earth Ulori Peace Command. We just received a ping from a lost royal ship tech. Stand down. Station 12. Rosk paled. "What?" "She's not a fugitive. She's under protection. You'll harm her, and it's an act of war." The drones froze completely. Rask stepped back, trembling. Cole lay on the ground, blinking hard. Toma helped him sit up. "You did it?" Cole looked at him, dazed. "Yeah, I think I did." The mother stepped forward, lifted her chip from Cole's hand and held it close to her heart. She looked around the hangar, then down at Cole, and for the first time, she spoke in clear English. "You are not just a janitor." The hangar was quiet now. Security drones had powered down. Rask had been escorted out, his angry words ignored by the higher command. And Cole sat against a crate, his back sore, arms weak, but his heart full. Toma sat beside him, fiddling with a broken bolt like it was treasure across from them. The alien woman stood tall, not like a fugitive anymore, but like someone who had remembered who she was. Not a beggar, not a cleaner, but a builder. A mother. A survivor who refused to bow. An hour later, sleek silver transport ship docked near the hangar gate. Its sides were marked with Earth Ulari Alliance symbols, clear and undeniable. The boarding ramp hissed down, and 2 human peace officers stepped out. One of them, a woman in dark navy, approached with calm eyes. "We received your signal," she said to Cole. "We've been searching for her for almost 5 years." She turned to the alien woman, bowed slightly, and said, "You don't have to hide anymore." The woman nodded, but her gaze drifted back to Cole. Toma stood suddenly, grabbing Cole's arm. "But you're coming with us, right?" Cole smiled gently. "Kid, I'm just a janitor." Toma frowned. "No, you're not. You're the first person who saw us," the boy added. "Really saw us." Cole looked away, pretending to rub his eyes. But the truth was, they'd gotten blurry. The officer stepped closer. "The Alliance. Ship has room. If you're willing, you can come with them to Earth Central. You'd be protected." Cole looked around at the station that never really welcomed him, at the place where no one listened until it was too late, at the place where he cleaned other people's mess. His hand was fined for kindness. Then he looked back at Toma, at the boy, who called him brave before anyone else did. "I'll go," Cole said softly, "if they'll have me." The woman walked to him, placing a hand gently over his. She nodded once, then said 2 words. "Stay, family." Hours later, the ship soared through the stars. Toma sat by the viewing window, staring at the stars zooming past. Do you think Earth will be different? Cole smiled. I think it'll be better. Behind them, the woman spoke quietly with the Alliance officer, helping them identify broken Yulari networks. She had gone from homeless to valuable in a single day because someone had said yes. Weeks passed. Cole was given a new job, not janitorial, but something even more important. He became a bridge. The Alliance asked him to help new alien families settle on Earth colonies, many of them poor, scared, and unsure how to start again. He understood them. He listened. He told them the truth. Sometimes the galaxy doesn't open its doors, but one human can. And back on the station they had left behind, something strange happened. The story spread not from officials, but from whispers, from people who had seen it. From the drone footage that leaked and showed a human with a wrench facing down machines for a woman who had nothing. Janitor who didn't walk away, other crew members began looking differently at those who scrubbed their toilets, at the alien who sat alone in the corner. And one day, when a little girl shouted, "Give my mama credit, she sweep your hallway," ... someone said yes. Years later, Toma stood in a flight academy on Earth, wearing a training badge with the Yulari crest. He smiled at Cole, now older, walking with a limp but proud. "I passed," Toma grinned. "First in my class," Cole grunted. "Not bad for a kid who rewired a pendant to open blast doors." Toma smiled wider. "It's not bad for a janitor who became my family." As they walked away, the camera in the hallway caught one last frame. A boy, a man, and behind them, a door that never closed again.